Majlis dengan penuh takzimnya menjemput Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr Mahathir bin Mohamad, Perdana Menteri Malaysia, dengan diiringi oleh Yang Berhormat Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Menteri Luar Negeri, yang akan mengendalikan sesi dialog bersama rakyat Malaysia. Dengan segala hormatnya, dipersilakan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Dr Mahathir Mohamad, Perdana Menteri Malaysia, Yang Amat Berbahagia Tun Dr Siti Hasmah Muhammad Ali, Yang Berhormat Tuan Haji Muhammad Sabu, Datuk KSU Saudara Syahir, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang dihormati sekalian, alhamdulillah kita dapat bersama-sama dengan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri dalam pertemuan dengan diaspora Malaysia di Doha, dan Yang Amat Berhormat telah bersetuju untuk kita mengadakan sesi dialog pada malam ini, dan kita akan mulakan dengan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri menyampaikan sepatah dua kata, dan selepas itu kita akan ada soal jawab daripada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Jadi saya persilakan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang Berhormat Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, Yang Berhormat Tuan Muhammad Sabu, Tuan Muhammad Syahir Sabaruddin, Syarji Dafer, Kedutaan Besar Malaysia di Qatar, Diaspora Malaysia di Qatar, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan sekalian, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, yang pertamanya saya ingin mengucap terima kasih kerana dalam lawatan saya ke Qatar, I have been able to meet such a big group of Malaysians living in Qatar. Nowadays, wherever I go, one of the items that is always on my agenda is meeting the Malaysian diaspora. Apparently, Malaysians are living, more Malaysians are living abroad now, and they seem to be very happy living in other countries. This is not always so. I remember the days when Malaysians want to stay at home only. They feel very comfortable at home. They meet the same people, talk the same language, and if they have to do anything with the government, they feel comfortable because the members of the government also speak in the same language. They are too comfortable. But if you are too comfortable at home, you become like the proverbial frog under the coconut shell. Katak di bawah tepung. You don't know the big world. So it was decided that they should go abroad. And the first time I took businessmen abroad was to South America, to Argentina, Brazil, and Chile. One whole plane load of them accompanied me to South America. And since then, they have been going to America, of course, and to other countries, especially when I was still the Prime Minister in the past. And because of that, they found the doors were opened more easily if they came with the Prime Minister. So now, of course, they are quite familiar with other countries. And they are so familiar that some of them prefer to stay in other countries permanently. And some of them, of course, got married to the good ladies and handsome men of the other countries. I hope we don't lose them, because I hope that they will come back, they will, if they can, contribute towards the development of Malaysia also. I feel very proud that Malaysians who go abroad go there as professional businessmen, engineers, doctors, and they are all capable people, and normally they hold substantial places in the businesses of other countries. This is, of course, something that we can be proud of. We don't see Malaysians going abroad to work as housemates or anything like that. Although we find a lot of Malaysians now are very good cooks. They work in many of the hotels all over the world because they understand cooking east as well as west. I hope that this practice will continue, that we will never send people abroad who do not have the right qualification and are professionals as well as good businessmen. At the same time, of course, you have become ambassadors for Malaysia. What you do is important to Malaysia. We hope that you will always keep up the good name of Malaysia by doing business in a proper way. There should be no wrongdoings when doing business in other countries. You can come back and do wrong business at home, but don't do that in other countries. That will retain our reputation, and reputation is very important. You will find that now people accept Malaysians wherever they go because we have established a good reputation. If we misbehave or do something wrong, that reputation may disappear, and if it disappears, then you will lose out because you will not be able to do business in other countries. Today in Malaysia, we have a new policy called Vision 2030 for equitability in acquiring wealth. We do not want to see people in Malaysia being divided between rich and poor, with the poor being very, very poor compared to the very rich. We want the poor people also to earn enough money not to be classified as poor people. For that, the government will carry out a policy of equalizing or reducing the disparity between town and country, between states and states, and between ethnic groups, so that we will share the prosperity of our country equitably. Not that we'll have the same income, but at least the disparity between the low income and the high income would not be too high. For this, of course, we need people to be better educated and more highly skilled. And they are now being provided with training and education so that when they graduate, they would earn a better income holding better posts. That way, we will reduce the poverty of the people, because we find that the only reason why many people are poor is because they're not prepared to work and not prepared to acquire the right skills and knowledge in order to hold good positions. So I hope that those of you who have children abroad should tell them that they must acquire good knowledge and good skills while abroad and come home and work at home Of course, they may find difficulty because once we had a whole group of Malaysians in the Navy who were posted to Italy where we were building some ships there. When they came back, their children could only speak Italian. But now they have forgotten Italian, they are speaking Malay completely. But whatever it is that you do abroad, do it well, establish a good reputation for Malaysia because it will contribute towards improving the income and the wealth of the peoples of Malaysia. So I will stop there because I'm quite sure you have other questions to ask and I will try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Saya buka peluang untuk tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Can I have the first question, please? Yes. Please state your name and is there ada mic tak? Boleh hantarkan mikrofon. Sila sebut nama, buat apa, nombor akaun tak payahlah.
First of all, thank you Tun, YB, for being in Qatar. My name is Ahmad Tarmizi Muhammad Hashim. I'm the CEO of Malaysia Airport Consulting Services. My question tonight is about the universities in Malaysia. What kind of graduates that they are producing that we as employers cannot bring them into our fold. That's the most difficult, because we have a lot of graduates that are not able to get into the job market.
First thing that we must remember is that English has become the universal language. Whether at home or abroad, mastery of English is very essential. If you know English, your chances of getting a job would be much better, even in Malaysia. That is why we are emphasizing the learning of English in our schools now. Apart from that, we know that business, industries require good people who are conversant in the scientific subjects as well as mathematics. If you have mastery of these two, then it's easy to be trained as engineers and in other new technologies, and they will become more easily employed. Those who fail to master English and who have very little skills will face difficulties. We are now stressing practical work. TVET is what we say, technology and vocational education is very important because while you can master the theories, but if you cannot do the real work, then it's difficult for you to be employed. So we want to train people to acquire sufficient knowledge of the theory, but to use their hands and do the work that they will have to do when they get employed. So training, practical training is very important. So these are the things that you must equip your children with. First, mastery of English, understanding the science and mathematics, and thirdly, to be able to work with your hands in the kind of work that you will be employed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please. Yes, di tengah-tengah.
Assalamualaikum and very good evening. My name IR Zulkifli, working in QP. Then I just would like to ask, what is your plan to make Malaysia as a Asia tiger again? Thank you.
Well, firstly, of course, the country must be stable. If the country is not stable, you cannot do anything. You cannot do business, you cannot work and all that. So stability, political stability is something that we value in Malaysia. Beyond that, of course, you have a strong government, and a government that cares for the people, that wants to do things for the people, not for themselves, but for the people. And towards this end, we need proper training for our people. Then we have to focus on certain areas that we want to excel in. In the past, we were farmers. We were not very good farmers. Most of us were very poor. We decided to industrialize. We succeeded in doing this despite the fact that we had no technology, no capital, no management know-how, and no knowledge of the market. What we did was we invited foreigners to come to Malaysia to set up establishment that manufacture goods for our country and for exports. Then, of course, the industry changes. We have to follow the industry. Today, the old-fashioned industries are out. Mechanical things are out. Now we have to learn about digitalizing, about how to use automation, computers. And to master this, we must understand about programming. That is very important. So we now are moving from the old technologies into the new technologies, which is faster. We need to have knowledge about artificial intelligence and things like that. So the training now is in that direction so that Malaysia can become a country that fully use all the new technologies with regard to communication and the speed of communication. This we are doing now, and already Malaysians are able to fabricate or design and fabricate their own things, some of which are unique, and we are even exporting some of our own inventions, including, of course, writing programs for all kinds of other things. So this is the direction that we are going. In the future, maybe there will probably be very few manual workers. All workers must be intelligent and must understand intelligent use of machinery, programming, and maintaining of those equipments that we are going to use for our industries into the future. Strictly speaking, we are a trading nation. We will have to remain a trading nation. And today, what we have told the business community is that we must not think only of the Malaysian market. Whatever we do, we must think of the world market. We must produce things for the world, not for the domestic market, because the domestic market is too small for our industries to grow big. We have conveyed this new policy to the business people so that when they do business, it is with the intention of producing things not only for the local market, but also for the rest of the world. That is how we are going to build up or grow our economy.
Thank you, sir. Next. Yes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Tun sebab sudi berjumpa dengan kami rakyat Malaysia. Saya Muhammad Salahuddin bin Abdurrani, Vice President Malaysian Association in Qatar. So just one question from the majority of Malaysian here. We are love to went back to our home country. So is there any new benefit or attractive scheme that provided by the government to bring back all the Malaysian expat here? Because basically country lose all the expat because now most of the expat everywhere in the whole world, Especially in Qatar, most of specialists, for example, like our friend Arpaye, is very big guy in QP, you know. So what's the initiative that government can offer to bring back us, people like us, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.
This has been the policy of Malaysia, to bring back those who are working abroad. But their working abroad also means that they acquire experience and knowledge, and therefore they are better qualified than pure those people who are trained and work only in Malaysia. As to whether they will find jobs in Malaysia, of course, there will be jobs if you look around, depending upon the area in which you specialize. Some doctors have come home to work in Malaysia, but unfortunately, they could not pass the Malay language test. So we are looking into that to make sure that that does not become a barrier to their working in Malaysia, but only when they want to work with the government. But in the private sector today, there are lots of areas which needs expertise that you have gained abroad. Certainly in the gas and oil business, you gain experience here which is useful in Malaysia. Besides that, of course, there are many other areas which you gain experience while abroad. Certainly, if you have knowledge about electronics, about the new methodology and technology, there will be room for you in Malaysia. I can't say specifically what, but we do have a need for more experienced people to come back to Malaysia and contribute towards building Malaysia's economy.
That table, yes.
Assalamualaikum, Tun, and a very good evening to all. My name is Hassan. I'm an academician. I'm attached to College of Engineering at Qatar University. My concern is about this early education in Malaysia. If you look at the recent report, international report, it says that our school children's English literacy rate has dropped. Maths level also dropped. So is there anything that the government is doing to bring back the confidence that we have with our Malaysian education system? Thank you.
Well, we feel that there needs to be a fairly radical change in education in Malaysia. Partly because the skills needed, the knowledge needed is different now because of the advances made in science and technology. So we are concentrating on science and technology and mastery of the English language. Beyond that, of course, we have to train our people to understand the needs of society, the needs of the business people. All these will be included in the training of in the education of Malaysia's young people. We find, for example, that many people are not knowledgeable about finance and business. More stress would be given to understanding finance, simple finance. We find that some people don't even know that if you borrow money, you have to pay interest on the money. That is why we have some people who wanted to borrow a lot of money, thinking that when they need the money, they will have easy access to the money. But in the meantime, they have to pay interest on a lot of money. There are even people who do not understand that when you want to expand your business, you have to employ more people and probably invest more, and therefore the percentage of earning may go down. But as the volume is bigger, you can make more money. Of course, if you do everything yourself, then you make 100% of the profit. But if you have to employ people, then part of the profit goes towards employing people. But in return, you get more products for you to sell. So the education in Malaysia is being restructured so as to suit the needs of the economy in particular. And that constitutes quite a radical change, because we find that in previous years, we all should understand our religion. We are all Muslims, so we need to understand our religion. But schooling is not just about learning about our religion. Yes, you have to understand the fundamentals of the religion, but you need other fields of knowledge in order to prepare you for life after you have graduated. So all this is being looked into, and I hope that in future, students from Malaysian schools and universities will be much better oriented and capable than previous students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
Assalamualaikum, Tun. YB Dato'. My name is Rizal Kaha. I'm with Qatar Foundation. I'm sure, Tun, you're probably very tired of answering this question time and time again about who will succeed you as Prime Minister. But this question actually, I would like to know your thoughts in view of the recent infighting in PKR. Is Malaysia heading towards another leadership crisis again? And how can we stop history from repeating itself? Thank you.
Yeah, I get asked this question many, many times. As far as I am concerned, I have pledged, I made a promise that I will not stay on for too long, but I will step down and give my place to Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim. But at this moment, I still feel that there are many problems to be resolved. And besides that, next year will be an APEC meeting in Malaysia. And I think I should, head the delegation from Malaysia and become the chairman of the APEC meeting. So that will be in November next year. So only after that should I should step down. That is my decision. What other people want to do is their business. I'm not concerned with that. But a promise is a promise. I keep my promises. So I will step down.
Thank you, sir. Next, di hujung sana.
Okay, Assalamualaikum, Tun. My name is Ahmad Sharif. I'm studying here in Qatar University. I have a question. It's actually relating to my studies as well. So it's about the refugees issues in Malaysia, because we all know that Aung San Suu Kyi is on trial now in ICJ. So it could be, we don't know, another exodus of refugees coming in, probably after the trial ended, or anytime soon. So I want to know the government's stand on these issues in the near future, because we all know the refugees are coming in the country, and it's getting, I don't know, it's getting worse in some parts of the communities area, probably in KL, in other big cities as well. Thank you, Tun.
Well, we have been more friendly towards people in trouble, and the Rohingya are in trouble. Many countries reject them, but Malaysia has accepted many of them, but we cannot accept too many. If this Aung San Suu Kyi caused more people to run away from Myanmar, some of them might come to Malaysia. But we have to talk to other countries so as to take over some of these people. if they cannot go back to Myanmar. Our experience with Vietnam was that when the South lost the war, many Vietnamese left their country. And the first stop was always Malaysia. We cannot chase them away. What we did was to allocate one island for them to stay pending our effort to settle them in third countries. And that we have done. Every Vietnamese who came to Malaysia have now been resettled in Australia, in America, in Canada, and in many other places. We would like to do the same for the Rohingya refugees, but it is going to be much more difficult with these people because many of them are not well prepared educationally. So we have to accept that when people seek refuge, if they have no other place to go, we have to accept them. But I do hope that some settlement is reached in which the Rohingya people can go back to Rakhine State. But of course, they are afraid to go back. So we will have a problem after if what Aung San Suu Kyi says in the court is not acceptable and she is, Myanmar is found guilty of genocide. That is our fear, but I hope that at least some of them would be able to go back to Myanmar.
Saya belum tengok soalan wanita. Any question, please? Okay, tak apa. Ada lagi soalan? Alright. Saya nampak seorang wanita nak bertanya di meja yang kedua di depan.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Halimah. I'm from McDermott, Doha. I have a question on agriculture. I guess Malaysia realized that Qatar needs a lot of some sort like agricultural products. Because when I go to the supermarket, I hardly see fruits from Malaysia. I always see from Thailand, especially durian from Thailand, rambutan from Thailand. I wonder whether are we going to address the fact that we always have good products in Malaysia, and how are we going to export it into Qatar?
Well, we are in fact exporting a lot of food even to Qatar because a lot of food is being packaged, cooked in Malaysia and packaged, and they are quite nicely presented in the shops in many places. And we are exporting a lot of food, processed food, to many countries. But beyond that, we are changing our agricultural policy completely. Malaysia has adopted the kind of plantations that the British introduced to Malaysia. We think that since the British made a lot of money planting rubber and palm oil, then we should also follow in their footsteps and plant rubber and palm oil. But the difference is that the British had big estates of 20,000 acres, 10,000 acres at least. But in Malaysia, most people have very small pieces of land, 2 acres, 3 acres, and that area is not enough to support a family. So whereas palm oil is profitable, but the small estate, the small holders are losing a lot of money. And they are always asking for subsidies from the government. So we want to change that. We want the small estates to become big estates. How do we do that? We need to amalgamate the small holdings so that we can have a size at least of 1,000 acres. And the 1,000 acres will be managed by trained professional farm managers so that it conforms with the practices of the big estates, where you follow properly what you have to do in order to get the best result, the best product from your estate. That is one thing. The other thing is that we do not want everybody to plant palm trees or rubber trees. All estates must diversify, allotting a certain portion for the production of vegetable and fruits, and maybe fish rearing also. So that gives them a certain easy income, which is continuous. These are cash crops, so that they can sell the cash crop even when the price of palm oil goes down or rubber price goes down. They can now depend on the other plants vegetable and fruits that they plant. Nanas, for example, is doing very well. So in the future, we will be exporting processed fruits and hopefully also some vegetable. At this moment, we are importing 60 billion ringgit worth of vegetable from other countries. We want to reduce the imports, and hopefully we can export some of the fruits that we will be growing. Nanas is one of them. Today, the durian, Musang King, is selling like hotcakes to China. Any amount you produce, they can consume. Remember that China has got 1.4 billion people. So if we plant this durian, we can make money. Mangosteens have been exported. We don't compete much with mangoes because other people produce mangoes. But we have identified other fruits that we can plant in Malaysia and export. Also, of course, for local consumption. So in the future, you can expect Malaysian fruits to be in the market all over the world. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
Assalamualaikum, Tun and YB. Thank you for coming to Qatar for answering our question. My name is Sharul from Qatar Airways. My question is regarding the aviation in Malaysia. First of all, regarding the future of our national carrier, Malaysia Airlines, what's going to be with Malaysia Airlines? And secondly, regarding the recent downgrading of our Civil Aviation Authority of Malaysia to the 2nd Division. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know, Malaysia Airlines has been in trouble over a long period of time. But many other airlines also were in trouble. Alitalia, for example, has been sold to some Arabs because they were in trouble. Japan Airlines had a bad period. It has been turned around now. But Malaysia Airlines problem is going on and on despite rescue operations. Once the government gave them 6 billion ringgit, and they were allowed to sack 6,000 people, but still they are losing money right now. One of the problems, of course, is that today we have low-cost airline, and low-cost airlines knock out many of the ordinary airlines, and Malaysian Airlines suffers a lot from that. So now we are looking for people either to buy the airline or to manage the airline. We haven't made any decisions. I believe there are 4 or 5 proposals made to Khazanah, which is basically the owner of Malaysian Airlines, but no decisions have been made. I have studied some of these proposals, and some of them look quite good. But we have to study very closely the background of these offers so that we don't make another mistake. Whoever takes over Malaysia Airlines, I believe, will have to face a lot of problems. It still owes money. It's not making money. It's losing more than R1 billion a year. And to turn it around is a major problem, which not many people can do. But we are hopeful that some proposals will be acceptable to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, kita ucapkan terima kasih kepada Yang Amat Berhormat. Dan saya kembalikan majlis kepada saudari pengacara.